Hi and welcome. My name is Ton, and today I'll be talking about the patch notes for Reaper that went live some days ago. So, some days ago, the experimental patch went live, and in that patch was a Reaper change that was meant to make him more consistent, essentially kinda buffing him. The notes state, Reaper's shotguns have a high damage potential, but require close range or large targets to fully utilize. We're smoothing this out by extending the range at which he can consistently deal damage while lowering the maximum damage of each shot. Now, they wanted to make Reaper's damage more consistent in dealing with small targets, and they therefore decided to reduce his spread from 8 to 6. However, by doing this, you make Reaper able to hit more pellets into the head, and he would therefore be a lot better against tanks, as well as he would shoot more pellets into the head, as well as be more effective at range. And therefore, Blizzard decided to also nerf him slightly, or kinda make up for him being able to hit more shots into the head. So they reduced his damage from 7 to 5.5. Now, to put this into perspective, one Reaper shot has 20 pellets, which means that his damage got reduced from 140 to 110 per shot. On the experimental patch, it was only reduced to 6 and not 5.5, which left one shot at 120. The problem with doing 110 damage as a close range tank buster is that it's very low, especially against tanks which have armor. Simply doesn't have enough damage to kill these tanks. So the current problem with Reaper is that he can't do his job, which is tank busting. He is better at dealing with small targets, but there are already better heroes for doing that, and therefore it doesn't really help him. Now, I think the reason to why the damage was reduced even further is to make sure that he wasn't too effective at these longer ranges, since you can see in the background that I could do pretty consistent damage at range a lot of the time, since this gameplay is from experimental and not the patch that actually went through. And therefore, because the range was longer, the damage was nerfed to make sure he still needed to be somewhat close. Essentially, to make sure that he doesn't do enough damage or do too much damage at range, they nerfed his damage so that it wouldn't do a lot of damage at range. But then they're also nerfing his close range. So Reaper's problems are, he doesn't do enough damage to tanks when playing point blank, as his max damage was reduced from 140 to 110. If his damage is increased again, he might have too much range and be able to 2-tap small targets too consistently because of the big damage. He's a burst hero that goes in on opportunities, and an opportunity is only there for a certain amount of time, and by reducing his damage, he is less likely to get a kill out of the opportunity given to him, as Reaper now needs more time to secure the kill because of the lower damage. Now, how do we fix Reaper then? My solution would be to increase his damage back to either 6 or 6.5 it would need some testing. Now, this would make him able to deal with tanks consistently again, right? But probably make him too effective at dealing with small targets. And therefore, the next change would be to reduce his starting fall off range from 10 to either 9 or 8. What this means is his effective, like his fall off, would start sooner and he would therefore have less range, right? By doing this, Reaper would still be able to deal with tanks because his damage wouldn't be too low, still have decent spread because that's what they wanted to reduce. They wanted him to not be as close as he would have to be before in order to like hit the smaller targets, but still not be like a sniper, of course, that has insane range at longer ranges like McCree range, and he would still have a reason to go close since his damage fall off would start otherwise, right? Because of the change. And like that's how I think we make Reaper more consistent in like dealing with smaller targets, not to where he's oppressive, but to where he can hold his own against them. He wouldn't be the ultimate dueler like, for example, McCree is, but he would have a fair chance, and he would also be able to deal with tanks. Because right now, he can somewhat do both, but he does none of them really good, and therefore he's kinda lackluster at the moment, right? Now, if you have any thoughts or ideas, or maybe you have questions about the Reaper change, then feel free to comment down below. And if you want to talk about this more in depth, like my idea, Reaper's problems, then try and catch me on one of my Twitch streams, which is down in the description, and then we can discuss it there. That's all for me. Ton signing off.